On today's Flashback Friday in Elvis history, last week I took you back to September 26, 56, when Elvis rock and rolled the Alabama-Mississippi Fair in Tupelo, Mississippi, his hometown. But today, I'm taking you back to October 3rd, 1945, 80 years ago today. Elvis enters a talent show and gets 5th place. Yeah, Elvis got 5th place. That means 4 other people were better than him 80 years ago. Can you believe that? You're going to learn that history today on this Flashback Friday. I'm taking you back to Tupelo, Mississippi. Elvis, 80 years ago. Get your popcorn ready. It's going to be good. So before we get into this history, I wanted to show you this aerial. The Fairgrounds 80 years ago would be right here where I'm pointing at. That's where the rides would be. Ferris wheel, the stage where Elvis performed. This is where Elvis performed in 1956. About right there where I'm pointing at is where that stage was on this iconic footage that I'm showing you right now. So yeah, this is the aerial of Tupelo, Mississippi. The hardware store is right there, and kind of will give you a little idea next time you visit Tupelo. So let's get to the story from 80 years ago. Elvis Presley's first public performance on October the 3rd, 1945 happened in his hometown of Tupelo, Mississippi. It was his cultural setting that Miss Aletta Grimes, Elvis's teacher, heard him sing at school that morning of the fair and urged Elvis to enter the talent contest. Elvis was nervous and unsure, but he was drawn to perform, as we all know, right? A decision that would set the stage for everything that came after. At the heart of Elvis's first public performance was the song, drum roll please, Old Shep, a mournful ballad about a boy and his dog, penned by country singer Red Foley. Given the heavy emotional themes of loss and loyalty, it was a daring choice for a 10-year-old Elvis. The performance was even more memorable for the fact that Elvis sang a cappella, standing on a chair to reach the microphone. His small stature and youthful nerves on full display for the crowd there in Tupelo. This wasn't just any song. Old Shep resonated deeply with Elvis, a child already attuned to the sorrowful elements of his life, perhaps due to the hardships he faced growing up poor in Tupelo. This kind of emotional sensitivity would later fuel that power of his ballads. Even without music to back him up, young Elvis' voice captivated the crowd, laying the foundation for what would become a life spent performing to audiences worldwide. Now, I don't know if I believe that, because poor Elvis got 5th place this day in reality, It says, interestingly, the performance was broadcast live over WELO radio in Tupelo, a significant moment in itself. For the first time, the boy who would become known as the king of rock and roll sang to more than just a local crowd, beyond the fairgrounds, making his first steps into a much larger world. And guys, if you know anything about Elvis and Elvis history, Elvis loved WELO radio, and he loved a local singer there on that radio. Though Elvis gave a heartfelt performance, the judges awarded him 5th place. He received $5 in prize money and some free fair rides as a consolation. But it wasn't the triumph victory that many might expect from the future icon. Here's a photo I'm showing you right now on screen from the contestants that day, and looks like this little girl took home the top prize. Wonder who she is. Later, Elvis will recall about this day that after his performance, he got into trouble with his mama, Gladys, for riding a forbidden ride at the fair, earning him a spanking. This bittersweet moment, performing for a crowd and then being disciplined by his mama, captures the grounded, real-life dynamic of young Elvis Presley long before fame came into play. The very next year, in 1946, Elvis received his first guitar, a life-changing gift that would steer him toward his future. It was at the Tupelo hardware store that Elvis initially wanted a bike, was convinced by his mother to accept a guitar instead. And Elvis got a bike from Tupelo hardware store, and the spa guy discovered it at Graceland, and now you can see it on display at Graceland when you do that tour. And do that tour at Graceland, and come to the Tiger Man Karate Dojo and Museum by Spa Guy and experience the incredible history of Elvis only 1 mile from Graceland. Don't miss it. If you like my shows, you're gonna love the Tiger Man, because it's just a part of this show. Elvis, who initially wanted a bike, was convinced by his mama to accept a guitar. This pivotal moment set him on the path toward becoming a musician, blending his newfound instrument with the powerful voice he had debuted at the fair. So now check out what the girl that won first place had to say about that day. Here's the memory of Shirley Guillotine Jones, who also was in the contest. She said Miss Grimes was in charge of these sessions, and she encouraged those students who could sing or entertain in other ways to take part. She would tell us to sing certain songs, and we did. One morning, she even sang "You Are My Sunshine" and "God Bless America" in a duet with Elvis. These chapel sessions are her only memories of seeing him at Lawhun, but she remembers that day at the Mississippi Alabama Fair and Dairy Show quite well. They announced in school one day there was going to be a contest on Children's Day at the fair. I had been singing ever since I was 2 or 3. I sang in school and I sang before different people. The teachers encouraged me to go to the fair that day and enter the contest. One teacher, Miss Tracy Franks, really urged me to enter, and my mom and sisters told me, "You need to go and sing." So I did. I joined the class when it came time to leave the school. They had sent a bus out to take us all to the fair. Young entrants in the contest that day come from far beyond the walls of Lawhun School or even Tupelo. They came from other parts of northeast Mississippi and northwest Alabama. We weren't just competing against each other, says Shirley. They had advertised in a newspaper that if you had talent and wanted to sing, to come and join the contest. Of course, none of us realized that day that one day, not too long off, Elvis Presley was going to be famous. Therefore, we didn't think about competing with him any more than we thought about competing with any of the others. At least I know I didn't. Shirley had heard Elvis enough in chapel to know what she thought of his voice. On seeing him on the same school bus headed for the fair contest, did she have fears she was not good enough to beat him for a trophy? He being older, was she intimidated by his presence? I had confidence in myself, Shirley said. I thought I was a very good singer. I didn't think about Elvis one way or another. I just entered the contest, I guess, to please my mom. I just went to sing. I didn't really expect to win. Once introduced, tiny Shirley trotted on stage before hundreds of cheering people. Some she knew, most she didn't. And without pause, she launched into her song, "My Dreams Are Getting Better All the Time." She can't remember whether Elvis sang before or after her. I remember hearing him sing Old Shep. That was his main song. He sang it in the assemblies. There, everyone would say, "Elvis, sing Old Shep." And he would always do it. He was a hound, too. He liked to sing, too. We were used to always doing what the teachers told us to do, and I guess Miss Grimes just said sing, and we sang. Elvis really did enjoy it. As she heard Elvis in the distance singing Old Shep, she didn't consciously try to size up her chances of beating him out for a trophy. As she said, there was a lot more contestants than just Elvis. When they announced the winner, I was standing on a chair because I was so small. The way the judge the contest was by applause. I don't know if they had applause meters back then or not. Somehow I doubt it, but I guess I had just more applause than the rest. The applause I got was louder, so I guess that's how they judged me to win first place. I just felt really good and happy and thrilled. I got a trophy. They had 3 trophies, 3 different sizes. The biggest was the first place, the second biggest was the second place, and the smallest was the third place. I was given the biggest trophy and a $25 war bun. I was more glad to get that war bun than the trophy. Also, I got the tickets to the rides at the fair. In 1956, when Elvis records started getting heavy airplay throughout the country, many friends started talking about Elvis to her, about how she had won that contest, yet here he was on the radio and not her. I used to joke with my cousins in those days, I can beat Elvis singing. I won first place. But that was just a joke in the family. I always knew Elvis was special. I learned that more after he got older. I didn't really realize how special Elvis was until I got older. The thing that my husband and I admired most about Elvis was that he was humble. I think that was his main trait, that he was kind and considerate and humble. That's what I liked about him best. There's a photograph of Shirley holding the first place trophy that I'm showing you right now. That's Shirley. That says it all as far as I'm concerned, says Shirley. What else is there to say? I remember everything about it. I remember singing with him. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't anything my mother or daddy told me. Her memories of Elvis in those days are of Elvis having blonde hair, just a little tasseled hair boy wearing overalls part of the time. He was clean and neat and a nice acting boy. I don't remember him ever misbehaving in school and getting in trouble. He was just a nice boy. He could sing good. I enjoyed hearing him sing, and I enjoyed singing with him. But at that time, I had no idea or no dream of him ever doing anything with his voice. So guys, I'm going to close this episode that happened 80 years ago today, October 3rd, 45, with what Elvis said about this day 80 years ago. As time went by, they entered me in a talent show. I wore glasses, no music. I won. I think it was 5th place. I got a whipping the same day. My mama whipped me for something. It destroyed my ego completely. That is what Elvis himself said about his memories from October 3rd, 1945. He won 5th place, he wore glasses, and he got a whipping from his mama because he rode some ride he wasn't supposed to. And you know what? I'm going to leave you with this. Check out what Elvis and Bitsy Savory, how they used to sneak into the Tupelo Fairgrounds.
I could have gotten in, but Elvis was downtown. It was Saturday, and I saw Elvis downtown, basically where Tupelo Hardware is today. There was an intersection at Lyle's Feed Store, and they had a Cockrell banana company. And Elvis, I remember, had some bananas. And it was right down behind Cockrell Banana Company was the Fairgrounds, and they had this big fence around it. And Elvis wanted to go in, and I could get in because my dad, but I didn't know if I could get Elvis in. But I told Elvis I knew behind the old woman's building down there, the exhibit hall, and the armory, there was a hole on that fence, and I knew how to get in there. Elvis said he wanted to get in the fairground, and I told him I didn't think there was any problem back in, And of course, kids back then would rather slip in, break in, or go swim, do anything, if it was wrong. Yeah, that was just part of it. But anyway, so we went down behind the old Leaking Good lumber yard, and I knew where the hole in the fence because my dad, and I stayed down with my dad all the time. So we were slipping under that fence, and there wasn't anybody. And there's a man named Mr. Parham, huge fellow. I just remember him, Mr. Parham, and he was the security or marshal at the fairgrounds over, and he grabbed us and took us and threw us. He didn't know who I was, but he threw us out of the front, and that's the last time I ever tried to get in there with Elvis Presley. But when next time he came in, of course, they tore the gate down and let him in '56, but that I went with him. But anyway, that was the day that we tried to slip in and got caught by Mr. Parham.
So there you have it. Elvis and Bitsy slipped under the gate. So guys, hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, like it, comment, share it. Until next time, I'll see you next Friday. Don't double dribble.